Today I'm going to talk about how to get leads and sales for free. By the way, if you like videos on how to grow your customer list and build a real brand, then subscribe to my channel as I have new videos each week.
It's the Morning Marketing Machine, here to grow your e-commerce business with proven marketing strategies and tactics, so you can run your business with machine-like precision. My name is Douglas Levin. Let's dive in.
Hi, my name is Douglas Levin, and I built a 20,000 person messenger list ahead of the launch of our first product, which led to 20,000 in monthly sales within the first 3 months of our launch. I also have a link to a free cheat sheet below with tips on how to take control over your e-commerce income. Have you ever wondered why some brands that are pretty comparable have completely different results? Like one is able to successfully launch their products and double their revenue like year over year, while others are still struggling to grow at all, like despite like having probably like the same type of product? Well, one of the reasons could be a concept called the Dream 100. And the Dream 100 is a way to get free leads, right? So the Dream 100 started, they talk about it in a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine, which I've talked about previously. And it's a book by Chet Holmes. And it's been made more famous recently by Russell Brunson, and Dana Derricks has kind of taken it over from them. But Chet Holmes is the one that everyone talks about as like the guy who came up with it. It's something that you've probably been doing in the past, but you didn't know you were doing it. So really the idea behind the Dream 100, if you were to read The Ultimate Sales Machine from Chet, he talks about how he started working for Charlie Munger. And Charlie Munger, he's one of the partners with Warren Buffett in Berkshire Hathaway. But he started working for Charlie Munger, and I think it was like a lawyer magazine, I want to say, in California. And he started working with them, and there was, I think, 15 different ones in that market in California. And when Chet started working for Charlie, he was starting working, and Charlie's company was dead last. They were 15 out of 15, I want to say. And all of this is coming from my recollection of the book, so I could be a little off here. But so what Chet ended up identifying when he was looking through is like, well, how am I going to turn this company around? Is that he identified like all of the advertisers, that like there was thousands of them, and he did all the research and he figured out like, all right, who am I going to go after? And then he realized, like, as he was looking at like the top ones in like the top ones in the industry, that like I think it was like 70 or 80% of those sales, well, like in advertising, were coming from like 100 companies. So that's where the idea of the Dream 100 came, right? So he's like, all right, there's thousands of these other companies out here, but I'm only going to focus on these 100 because it, like if you think about like the 80-20 rule, this is where I'm going to get the biggest bang for my buck, and all I really need is like one of them, and I could have like a huge impact on my business, right? So what Chet ended up doing is he focused like intently for like 3, 4, 5, 6 months on reaching out to these 100 companies to try and get them on board for Charlie's company. And he got nothing. Like month 3, month 4, month 5, the first 6 months that he was doing it, nothing happened. He had no results. And he didn't give up. And one of the things, if you know Chet, he talks about like if it was like big-headed determination and discipline, right? That's his kind of like big thing. So like he would keep at it. And like after 6 months, he finally got somebody, I think it was Xerox's example that they always use, where like he finally got Xerox on board. And then after that, he got another company on board, and then another one, right? And so like I think it was like after a year, he ended up turning Charlie's company that was dead last to number 1, and it was free. It was all because of the Dream 100 list, right? Because he had that determination and discipline. He didn't give up. He just kept going after these companies, and eventually they said yes, right? So that works really well when you're talking about it from that perspective, like when you're doing like business to business stuff. But how does that really work when you're talking about yourself as a brand, where you're not really trying as much to go that route? You're trying to go like potentially for your ideal customer, right? Or maybe you're trying to go an affiliate route kind of, and you're trying to get other kind of people that have influence. So that's where Russell kind of talks about it a little bit more in a different way. Like, so if you ever read the book Traffic Secrets, he kind of goes into this a little bit more in depth. But really where Russell's strategy differs from Chet's strategy is he takes that approach, but then he talks about it from the perspective of where do they hang out. So like Russell's big into wrestling, right? So he gives the example of, well, he was in college, I think it was college, and he was after school, and he was a wrestler in college, and all of his buddies were checking out this specific forum, like this specific website about wrestling. So the idea comes back to, well, if I can get my product in front of that wrestling community, then I know that all of my ideal customers hang out there, right? So if, in this example, say Russell is selling something wrestling related, then, and he can go and get into that forum and get in front of those customers and get like some type of a relationship built with, say, that wrestling forum where they're going to vouch for him and they're going to say, well, Russell's amazing here. Then at that point, they're pre-framing it in the wrestling community's mind that, wow, this guy's great, this guy's awesome. I'm going to look at them in a completely different light, and I'm going to be more likely to buy that product because it relates, right? And this is where my ideal customer hangs out, right? And if you're liking any of this, make sure to leave a like below. So after you kind of done that, right? So if you're taking Russell's approach based off of Chet, and you're like, all right, I'm going to go and I'm going to create my Dream 100, right? It's not going to cost me anything, but it's going to take me a lot of time, right? So understand that you're always trading time or money. So in this example, you're not spending money, but you're going to take a lot of time. So I know one of the things that Russell always talks about is he was on his Dream 100 list was Tony Robbins for years. And he would spend all of his time like trying to build that relationship with Tony, where eventually he got to the point that Tony said yes. I think it was like 3 to 5 years or something before Tony finally said yes. And then he finally got to take advantage of that because he had built up that relationship over time. So this might not be something that happens immediately, and that's fine. Understand that it's going to be something that takes like some time. Yeah, maybe you'll get something in a few months, and that's awesome, like Chet did, right? His was about 6 months. But it's a long-term play. So just kind of take that in mind. And so one of the things that related to this that Russell talks about in Traffic Secrets is that you want to come at it from at least like a 60-day perspective for your initial outreach. So the beginning part of this is that your first 15 days, you're not going to talk to them at all. It's not about reaching out. You want to, as he always says, like dig your well before you're thirsty, right? So the idea is that you want to subscribe to everything that they've got. We talked in previous video about the idea of really like subscribing to everything your competition does. It's the same thing with your Dream 100, right? You want to, so if we're talking about, say, Tony Robbins, right? You want to subscribe to everything that Tony puts out, right? You want to go in the forums, like so Facebook groups. You want to subscribe to his podcast, like everything that he's putting out. In this example, you want to make sure you're subscribed to, right? And you also want to get value. So if you're on social media and like say you're in Facebook groups of his or something, then what can you do to give actual real value and help out some of his group, right? And just always do that. Like take time out every day and spend like 30 minutes or even 10 minutes, whatever it is. You're going to take time within those first 15 days to start to always do what you can to give value in those groups, so that your Dream 100 person is starting to maybe like start to notice who you are, right? And that's the beginning part. And then after that, what you want to do is, I think it was like days 15 to 30 is what he said, is at that point you want to reach out to them, but you're not going to reach out and pitch anything. At that point, you want to reach out and you want to like have something in mind in terms of like, how can I give value to you? So if we're getting back to the idea of Tony Robbins, it's like, well, what can I do for Tony Robbins? It's not about me. They're not going to give a crap about you. It's about what can you do for them. And at that point, you also want to make sure that you're not just like thinking about some random thing. It's not like you want, like if you were thinking about Russell Brunson and think about how his big things are family and wrestling and obviously like marketing. So you want to look at it from the perspective of what's going to be valuable to them. Like you don't want it just to be some generic thing. Well, I can make you more money because of this, but it's got to be something that actually it has some real value into their life. Like this is why like day 1 to 15 was about you like paying attention to who they are, right? paying attention to their community, what they care about. Because when you're going to go on day 15 to 30 and you're going to reach out to them, like they get like hundreds of these kind of things every day. So how are you going to be different, right? Like, so it's about like not just spamming them, but actually knowing something about them and giving real value when you're trying to reach out. And day 30 to 60, and probably longer in reality, gets back to the idea that Chet had talked about. He says like lumpy mail, I think is what they call it, where like you'll have something that aligns with what you're doing, but also aligns with them, like some little trinket that doesn't cost very much. So it can cost you like $3 to $5. So something super cheap, but can get it across the point of what you can do for them and also how it relates to them. So like one example could be something like a Rubik's Cube or something. Another one could be like a flashlight, like something that's really cheap, but you can somehow relate back to what you guys sell, and also something that they're going to remember, something that can like stay on their desk, or something that say their kid could want to play with, right? Where it starts to be memorable to them and they'll start to think of you, right? And then you also want to reach out and you want to send this obviously in the mail and some kind of lumpy mail. So it's not just something that they can kind of overlook, but something like, oh, what is this, right? And then at that point, you want to reach out and say, hey, were you able to get this, whatever it is, and then follow up. And then once all that is in place, you want to make sure you've got your pitch ready. So ideally at this point, right, you spent your time subscribing to everything that they do, right? You spent your time giving real value, and you spent your time following up afterwards. And then at this point, you need to have whatever the pitch is ready. So now you've done enough that where hopefully they know who you are, and they're going to accept that meeting. So you got to make sure at that point you're doing everything you possibly can to obviously like close, I know is the bad term to say, but basically you're trying to make sure that they're going to get enough value out of this relationship that it's beneficial for them. Obviously, you know, at that point it's going to be very beneficial to you, because if you can get your Dream 100 on, then you can like double your sales immediately. It's what ClickFunnels did to build their entire like software, right? Now I think they've got like 100,000 users plus, and it's a lot of their strategy is about the Dream 100, right? So this costs you nothing. It costs you your time, and you're building a relationship. And everything about business is about your relationship. So why not do it from the start and do it the right way so that you can start to build that bond with some of your Dream 100, and these relationships can last you a lifetime, right? So maybe you're going to have other brands that you bring to market, other potential products that you bring to market, right? Where you've built up that relationship with your Dream 100, and now it's going to cost you nothing when you want to launch it, right? You've already built that relationship. So like say, if I've got a relationship with Tony Robbins and he likes me because I've done all of these amazing things for him that have brought him a lot of money, and we've built up a relationship over time, then when I come up with my next project, he's going to go, oh, sure, yeah, because we've done stuff for each other. I've given him some type of value over time, right? So just always keep this stuff in mind as you're doing stuff. And this Dream 100 that Chet gave is going to be so valuable for you over the course of every business that you do. So if you're looking for more tips on how to take control over your e-commerce income, like the Dream 100, then click the link below in the description for a free cheat sheet. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tips on how to grow your list and build a real brand. All right, I'll talk to you guys next time. All right, bye.